Now on the other side, I've got the armrest that's gonna go in here, and I've gone ahead and cut out this piece, and I think it's gonna go about here. And it's gonna come up kind of like this, and it's gonna be some carving to it. If you can even see it, it's kind of in the corner, I guess. So the this won't go all the way around on this side, but I already have marked the edges of the armrest with pencil, so I can break this off where I need to. I just need to figure out where. It's right here. So we'll go ahead and break it off on this one. Got a little bit more glue on this one. It'll be alright. So I've got all the clothespins off because it's now the next morning. Well, afternoon, Saturday. So I worked on taking some of this bulk out of here on the armrest, and I did a little bit more fitting to the curve. It's fitting really well. Another thing I did was I pushed the body down into the mold a little bit more. So the back is actually sitting on the bottom of the mold, but because that side is not flat, I have to wedge up the top. I'm not sure if you can see the wedge, but there's a couple of wedges in, just to kind of give this a flat surface to sit on. I think I'm going to glue this in. You can see I've thinned it down on the back, and even still, once I glue it in, I can do what Jerry usually does and take the Dremel tool and sand it some more if I want to thin it up a little bit more. But it's fitting pretty well, so I think I'm going to get a clamp or two, clamp this in there, get it glued in. I may rough this edge up. It's really smooth, and it might stick better if I rough it up first. I'm not 100% sure how high to stick this up. Well, I eventually got everything clamped up tight against the sides. So I'm going to leave this set aside for a while. Now I guess it's time to work on the top. Well, I'm pretty sure in the last clip I said I was going to work on the top, and this is definitely not the top, but I have been working on the top. I've been working on getting the rosette ready, getting all the pieces cut out, that kind of thing. But it's getting a little late, so I figure I want something to be drying overnight, and since there's nothing on the table saw right now, I can go ahead and glue up the back. I already, fit this in here. I clamped these down with everything in here and made sure it was tight. So I may want to get, never mind, a board to put underneath to prop these up. But I found it. It's sitting here. So this center strip, I made this to a degree. What this is binding. The outside is ebony and the inside is maple. The maple will be the same binding that goes on the guitar. So I just glued these up together and then I've kind of cleaned it up a little bit. So you see, this is going to be the back strip. And I'm not sure if I've talked about it yet, but this is going to be a 2-piece back. Jerry typically does 3-piece backs, but the boards I found were big enough to do a 2-piece, and I figured may as well. We'll try it and see what it's like. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this yet. Maybe I should cut this a little bit closer to length. Because I've got way more than I need. And I knew that I would, but that way I can maneuver it a little bit more. It's a little closer. Well, yeah, it's closer on that end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off about here. And then I'll come back and get this start gluing up. Alright, here we go. There is some parchment paper on the saw so that I don't stick any glue to it. And you can see the side that's sitting there. I did decide to put the darker side towards the inside because I'd like to keep the darker pieces on the back, and inevitably I'm going to cut off a lot of what's around the edges when I cut out the shape of the guitar. Now, there's not a whole lot to glue here. So I gotta make sure that I get everything as well covered as I can get it, especially on this one. The back can be a little thinner than the top, so there's really not much to glue there. This one's going to be a little bit difficult to do because I got to put glue on both sides of this little thin strip. I don't know if you can see. No, you can. I'm slightly off camera. Not over top. Back. Just like that. That's why. I'm not sure how Jerry puts glue on these things and doesn't get it everywhere, to be honest. Yeah, drop paper. Okay. So I need to spread these apart. Get started there. This might take some finagling, or it may not. It may just go right in there. I'm going to try to get as much glue off the top of here as I can. Then I'm going to go find something heavy to stick on here. Alright, so it's all glued up. I got this big heavy drawer of screws sitting on here. I think it should be good. So I'm going to give it probably overnight to dry. So this sat up overnight and I pulled everything off. And I've started using my finger plane to take this center strip down because it's fairly tall. And the problem I'm having right now is I think these two strips, so on this side, the black and the white want to be cut one way, and this strip wants to be cut the other way. So it's not the easiest to cut because it doesn't all want to cut one way. But there's an idea what it's kind of going to look like with a black, white, black center strip. I think it's going to look really good. I'm really happy with it, actually. You know, it being all wood. I'm actually really happy with it. I really think it's gonna look good. Well, there's gonna be a lot to this, so I'm not gonna film all of it, but you know what I'm doing. Just taking this finger plane and very carefully planing away what I can.